All right, this is just a bonus video showing you the more traditional algorithm for how we can divide. Don't feel like you have to watch it or use this method. It's just another strategy that some of you might prefer. So I've written down the steps that you'll do, DMSB. Now it stands for divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Or the way some students like to remember it is, does McDonald's sell burgers? So by remembering does McDonald's sell burgers, that'll help you with the letters, and then you can remember that it's divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So say I have 348 divided by 4. Now, similarly to before, I'm trying to figure out how many times 4 will go in, but instead of looking at the whole number, I'm just going to look at a part of it. So I would say, okay, how many times does 4 go into 3? So this divide step is like, how many times is what I'm asking myself. Well, 4 doesn't go into 3, so I'm going to ignore that and then just look at 34. How many times does 4 go into 34? Well, I can either count by 4s, I can look at my chart, and I can say, oh, it goes in 8 times. That's as close as I can get without going over. Because 8 times 4, now it's my multiplying, 8 times 4 is 32. Now I subtract 34 minus 32, and I get 2. And then I bring down the next digit, which is an 8. Now I ask myself again, how many times does 4 go into? Now I'm asking about 28. Well, it goes in 7 times, because 7 times 4 is 28. And I get 0 as my remainder. If I had something else to bring down, I would, but I have no digit there, so it's just remainder 0. Or my answer is 87. All right. Well, I'll do more examples. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring it down. So, 658 divided by 5. Hold on one second. What I was going to say is, I'm really doing the same thing as I was doing before. I'm just kind of shortcutting it and doing it a different way. It's like, how many 4s go into 348? Well, 80 groups. So 320, I just don't write the whole thing. I just kind of look at a piece of it, if that makes sense. So I'm really doing the same thing, just in a different way. So this again, remember, is how many times does 5 go into just, let's look at the first digit, 6. Well, 5 times 1 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10, 2 5s is too many. So just 1 5. Now I multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Now I subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. Now I bring down the next digit, 5. Okay? Now I ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 15? Well, 5, 10, 15, I hit it exactly. I won't always hit it exactly like I did in the last one. But this time I did. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract, I get 0. Bring down the next digit. Okay, and then I go back up to the top. How many times does 5 go into 8? Well, I can only fit 1 5 in. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract, I get 3. I have no more digits to bring down, so that is my remainder. So 131, remainder 3. All right, let's do some with 2 digits now. Again, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Some people say like dad, mom, sister, brother. Does McDonald's sell burgers? So 2,341 divided by 15. Now, some kids like to go ahead and just write out the multiples of 15 to begin with. Okay, 15 is the first one, 30 is the next one. So that you don't have to multiply as you go. So that is one option. 75. Or you can sort of do this as you go. That would make 105 the next one, etc. So, we'll do it this way. I'll show you on the next one a different option. So again, how many times does 15 this time go into 2? Well, it doesn't. So I can either put an X and move to 23, or I can go through the steps and say, well, it goes in 0 times. 0 times 15 is 15, although that doesn't really work. So never mind. We're not going to do it that way. Never tried it with 2 digits. So it does not go into 2. Oh my gosh. Where's my brain? It actually does work. So 0 times 15 is 0. Subtract, I get 2. Bring down the 3. There we go. How many times does 15 go into 23? Well, if I look at my multiples, 30 is too many. So it just goes in 1 time. Notice it's right above the 23. 1 times 15 is 15. Subtract, I get 8. Bring down the 4. Go back up to the top. How many times does 15 go into 84? Well, if I look at my multiples, 90's too big. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Now I multiply. 5, the number I just wrote, times 15 is 75. Subtract. I get 9. Bring down the next digit. And keep going. How many times does 15 go into 91? Well, 105 is too big. 90 is just about right. Notice it's close but still smaller. So it goes in 6 times because that's the 6th multiple. So 6 groups you could think. 6 times 15 is 90. Subtract, I get 1. Have nothing more to bring down, so 1 is my remainder. So I get 156, remainder 1. All right, let's do one more example. And then if you still want more to practice this traditional algorithm, if it feels like, you know what, I might want to do that instead of partial quotients, I can definitely show you some more examples. If you're like, nope, I'm good, I don't want to do this, that is fine. Partial quotients works just as well. All right. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Sorry if you can hear my dog. She's just scratching her ear. 1,586 divided by 31. So, how many times does 31 go into 1? It does not. How many times does it go into 15? It does not. That can happen with 2-digit divisors. How many times does it go into 158? Well, I didn't write my multiple, so in this case, I just have to guess. Well, I could try counting by 30s, and because it's 31, and see if I can make a good estimate. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. Okay, 180 is too big, so 150. So let's try 31 times 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 15. Now, 158, 155 is very close. If I got one that was like 130 something, I'd probably say, oop, is that close enough? And I might have to try a different number. If I got one that was too big, I might have to try a different one. This is why sometimes people just like to write out the multiples, so then you're not guessing and checking as you go. But it goes in 5 times. Multiplying, I already did. 5 times 31 is 155. Subtract, I get 3. Now, after my subtraction step, I can compare. I want to make sure this number is smaller than this number. That's a good clue that I picked the right number up top. All right, bring down the next one. Divide. How many times does 31 go into 36? Well, just 1 time, right? Because 2 times would be 62. 1 times 31 is 31. Subtract, I get 5. And then my remainder is 5 because I have nothing else to bring down. So, like I said, if you want more examples, I can absolutely help you master this way if it's feeling like the way you want to choose. If not, not a problem. Just wanted to show you an option.